Randall Wiseman, Southeast AgNet.
Get it for less at the DIY Home Center outlet. Get top quality real wood cabinets the same or less than the big box stores are selling the cheap stuff. And that's not all. Drywall screws big box stores are $6.47 a pound. At DIY, only $4.99. Plus, DIY has the largest selection of mobile home parts and accessories anywhere. From carpet to doors, get the DIY supplies you need for less. The DIY Home Center outlet. We are your building material closeout store. 2191 Northwest 10th Street, just 2 miles east of I-75.
Is your credit headed in the wrong direction? If so, Florida Credit Union can help turn it around. If the signs are reading missing payments, maxing out cards, or borrowing from financing companies, it's time to steer your credit to safety. Pull into a Florida Credit Union today and let us help you map out a personalized credit management plan. Get a free credit report analysis and advice to help you consolidate wisely. A better plan can get you to a better place. Florida Credit Union, connecting your money to your life. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA. Ocala.
All right, 5 minutes after 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this morning. Right now, one of my nephews and his wife have a little baby up in the intensive care unit at Shands, I think. Is
Yes.
that's where the baby is?
Yes.
The baby was prematurely born, and I don't know that there's anything wrong with the baby's heart, but so lots of prayers, obviously, for the little baby.
Yeah,
when you see a
Dominic.
little tiny fragile child in the intensive care unit, you wish that you could somehow have a magic wand or something and make everybody better. And doctors sometimes have that magic wand. Right now, the baby I just referred to, the child of my nephew. I don't know if that was that second nephew. What do you call that? Second nephew?
You're his great uncle. So
Great,
he's
whatever,
your great nephew.
Whatever that is. Okay.
Yes, he's your great nephew.
So, but I mean,
Dominic.
the doctors do have this, and in some cases, if a baby needs a heart, there's a happy story and a not so happy story, because there's got to be a baby who can't live and so the heart has to be donated. There is no way for us to make hearts, not right now. Maybe one day it'll happen, and artificial hearts don't usually seem to work. Tedi Tuttle Wixom went through this 24 years ago. Her son Jason is, from what I understand, 24 years old and has a miracle, happy ending to her story. In fact, it sounds like he's a handsome young guy with a promising career in acting, etc. The book about this is called Whisper of Springtime, Jason's Heart Transplant Miracle. And Tedi Tuttle Wixom is on the phone. Good morning, Tedi.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing great this morning.
Thank you for being on the show with us. Where are you right now?
I'm in Salt Lake City.
Oh, okay. What's it like? They're cold? It's got to be cold, right? Salt Lake City?
No, it's going to be 50 degrees today. It's a little overcast, but
really?
we'll get sunshine today. How's it down there in Ocala?
It's overcast. It's not too bad. The rest of the country seems to be in trouble right now. Why are the roads so wide in Salt Lake City? Everybody tells me. What is up with that?
Because Brigham Young saw a vision from the Lord, and he created the wide streets.
I never knew that.
Yes.
The Lord said make wide streets. Well, he must have been speaking to the interstate system too, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So thank you for being on the show with us. Your story has such a happy ending, but there's a family out there 24 years ago that lost a baby, right?
Absolutely.
Wow. Do you know that family?
No, actually, Jason, his heart transplant was anonymous, and it was in May, so it was springtime, flowers blooming and stuff like that. But, it's an incredible story. You know, he actually went into cardiac arrest at home.
Wow.
To start with.
How old was he?
He was only 8 months old.
8 months, wow.
So he weighed about maybe 10 pounds, 8 or 10 pounds. He hadn't gained very much weight.
Wow. And so what happened? I mean, you were home, he was in his crib. Where did you said a cardiac arrest, that's a heart attack, right?
Right. He basically shut down. He went into a seizure. I love to write, so my mother was here from Idaho, and we were writing her life story.
Oh, wow.
And I went to just pick up Jason. He was just asleep on my bed, actually. He couldn't really go anywhere. And when I picked him up and I took him downstairs to start nursing him, he wasn't responding. And so I looked down and his eyes were turned back in his head.
Oh,
so
wow.
we knew that he had a heart problem, and we knew he would probably die before his one, because that was the prognosis of the doctors. We had already had this experience with another son who died of a genetic heart problem.
Oh, my goodness. I didn't know that part of the story. Okay.
Exactly. So, I mean, I think the story of Jason's transplant was such a powerful experience for our family that we just needed to share it. And I always wanted to share his story. But so what I did is I just, I couldn't remember how to dial 911, if you can believe that.
Wow. Well, yeah. When you're in that state, of course, yeah.
So what I did is I just ran outside with him. There was a neighbor across the street. I said, come with me. They held him. I took him to the hospital and just put him out there it was about a mile from where we live. And then he was actually, we didn't know if they could get his heart rhythm back, but they did. And then about an hour later, he was life-flighted across the valley to the primary children's hospital here. So then they said, oh, well, he's either going to get better or he's going to get worse. That was a prognosis.
Yeah, really. That doesn't sound like they I guess it was just as much a mystery to them as it was to you. Now, my notes say you have 9 children. Is that correct?
Yes, I've had 9 children.
Wow. And are they all living? I know you said one didn't survive.
Our oldest son died of the same heart problem. It's Barth syndrome. That's BARTHS. Barth syndrome, not barf. I'm afraid they thought I was saying it was a barf syndrome.
Yeah, right.
So, but the other children are okay?
Actually, we have another that has it, but he's fine. He's my sports person.
Oh, wow.
So,
wow.
like, we have nurses, paramedics, engineers in the family, so it's not like we're retarded or anything.
So eventually, I mean, when going back to Jason's early story, when he was in the hospital and they were diagnosing everything, somebody made the decision that he needed a new heart.
Right. 5 days after we got over there, he was living on lidocaine, and they said, well, there's only 3 things we can basically do. We can put him on an arrhythmia drug, but if something like this happens again, he will certainly die, especially if you're not by the hospital. Or we could put a defibrillator, but the defibrillator, he had to be about a year and a half older because he wasn't big enough. And then they said, oh, well, maybe transplant at Loma Linda, California, because at that time they were just starting to do the infant heart transplant program, and they had nearly 100 at that time in 1991.
100 what?
100 pediatric heart transplants at Loma Linda.
Okay.
So that's been a long time ago. In fact, the first heart transplant that took place was baby Faye. Of course, you probably remember with the baboon heart. It was October 26, 1984.
I do remember that. Yeah. Did she continue to live?
No.
No. Okay.
In fact, just in my book, it just says her brief existence had been extended a few days beyond her natural capacity to live due to the controversial baboon heart, which had so meticulously been placed inside her body by Dr. Leonard Bailey. But she pioneered the groundwork, for successful surgeries in the future. And our other son was born just a year later, and transplantation wasn't available then, and we didn't know about it.
You tried to keep a normal life around him. I mean, you brought him balloons, you had a happy birthday banner for him, and you tried to keep everything as normal could be.
Exactly. We didn't want him to be known as the handicapped, challenged, retarded child.
Yeah.
So 24 years later, you're telling the story. You and your husband, you already mentioned this, that you wanted to tell this story. What has been the feedback so far? Have you had other parents who've had similar experiences? And have you heard from parents who've had children that died, but they gave the organs, they donated the organs?
Well, there's a lot of stories out there. We've tried to distance ourselves from a lot of that simply because we know that donors are important. I mean, without a donor heart, we wouldn't have had Jason. In fact, he wasn't even listed on the donor list when they gave him the heart. He was doing workups at the hospital. It was about 2 weeks after he had the episode at home that they called us and they said, we have a heart for him at Loma Linda University Medical Center, and you guys need to get down here now. And it was just like, what? I'd been at the hospital all day, and I came home early, and I thought, wow, I was glad that I got home. Had to find my husband. He was at work teaching, and we just took off in a little jet, and we made it down to Loma Linda, and that's pretty much the story that we're telling about the actual things that happened when he was little. Of course, he's grown up now, but there's so much to tell about just the little intricacies that happened. And we are grateful for our donor.
He's 24. The condition that he was born with is hereditary. Is that correct?
Yeah, the Barth syndrome.
So is that something he worries about for his own children?
Yes, because what it is, it's X-linked, and it means that.
And that means the male is the
right.
one. Okay.
The mother carries it in the genes, and
the mother does.
Her son gets it.
Oh.
So the sons have 50% chance of having it, and so like if he has kids, none of his boys will have it, but all of his girls would carry the gene.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
Oh, well, that's strange.
Yeah.
How did they even figure that out? Isn't that amazing that they even figured that out? We want to continue the conversation, Teddy, of course, but we need to take a little break.
Sure.
So we'll do that right now. Teddy Tuttle Wixom is on the phone. This is I can't. I mean, there's so much more I want to know. I'm so happy that Jason is doing well. The book is called A Whisper of Springtime, Jason's Heart Transplant Miracle. We'll be right back.
Brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. Clouds and some intervals of sun today with the showered spots. Highs ranging from the upper 60s in the northernmost part of the zone to the mid-70s in the southernmost part. Tonight, cloudy, breezy, and mild with a couple of showers around after midnight, those 60 to 64. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy with some showers, maybe a thunderstorm. Highs tomorrow will range from the mid and upper 60s in the northernmost part of the zone to the mid-70s in the southernmost part. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
It's a great pre-spring week at Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens. The real cold weather's behind us, and now's the time to get your share of the bargains. Take, for example, that truckload azalea sale. Guaranteed, these are some of the finest azaleas you'll see. This week, you can grab up a bundle of these budded and blooming dwarf ever-blooming azaleas. Regularly $6.99. You get 6 for $35.99. If you want the super extra large, they're low truckload priced at 6 for $45.99. Check this week's ad for other deals like these. A special buy on sparkling burgundy camellias, not $39.99, just $19.99 at Bob Wine's. And yes, those spring veggies are in. Plus, Bob's famous no-float pine straw, the world's best mulch, just $4.99 for a big bale. Spring store hours daily till 5, Saturdays till 4. So get on over to Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens, Southeast 38th Street, homegrown, locally owned since 1952.
The tech experience of the future is here at the newly relocated Ocala Verizon Smart Store. Join us on Saturday, February 28th from noon to 2 p.m. and get your hands on the latest smart devices. Right now, get 2 lines with 6 gigabytes of data for $100 monthly access for smartphones. All on the More Everything plan with Verizon Edge. So don't miss the grand opening of the newly relocated Ocala Verizon Smart Store next to Chick-fil-A. Subject to customer and edge agreements and credit approval. Coverage details at VerizonWireless.com.
Hey Ocala, this is Kelly Hart, Executive Editor of Ocala Magazine. Did you know last year Ocala Magazine won more awards in excellence than any other publication in Florida? And this year, Ocala Magazine was named Best Consumer Magazine in the state. Now you can join me every Friday at 10 a.m. on Ocala Magazine Radio, where we bring the pages of Ocala Magazine to life, right here on The Source. Ocala Magazine thanks you for making us #1. And remember, there is only one Ocala Magazine.
All right, 17 minutes after 10 o'clock. Thank you for hanging in there with us. Teddy Tuttle Wixom is on the phone in Utah, in Salt Lake City, where the roads are wide. Her book is called A Whisper of Springtime, Jason's Heart Transplant Miracle. Do you know, Teddy, during the break, I was thinking about, and I don't remember the details, but there was a TV show called Touched by an Angel. Do you remember that show?
Yes, of course.
And there was an episode where the job of the angel, whatever her name was, now I can't remember, was to convince a man to allow his son's organs to be donated. So that was her whole mission in that one episode. It's got to be. I mean, do you have anything you can say to us about the people who make that decision? That's got to be one of the toughest things ever.
Well, I have no idea. All I know is ours was anonymous, and so a lot of them got to thank their donors. We did not. But the one thing I did want to bring up about with this disease, a lot of people will find out if they have a boy or a girl or something. And after we had determined that we did have this heart disease after our first son died, I was a little concerned, and the doctor says, well, we don't need to worry about that because if you get pregnant, we can just find out if it's a boy. And if it's a boy, we can just terminate the pregnancy. So I didn't believe in death for any of my children.
Yeah, right.
And if I would have done that and believed like maybe other people, I would not have my 5 other sons, including Jason.
Oh, my goodness. Wow.
See, Jason has contributed so much to our family. He was always called scrawny. He was always the one picked last at the games. He was just kind of fragile. You know, he didn't even learn to walk till he was about 3. And so, I mean, we are grateful for the donor's hearts, but having 3 other children at home when he had the heart transplant, we had to come up with some way to try to give the other kids some attention, because sometimes they get so rowdy and they, you know, he was sort of like Joseph in the Technicolor Dreamcoat. Jason's the one that everybody loves.
Yes.
Right.
The others kind of get left by the wayside. And so we came up with this system of hugs where when we'd come home, we'd have bear hugs and pig hugs and monkey hugs, and the kids would go, ooh, 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 and give us a big hug, or oink, oink, oink. And it sort of become a little comical relief because we were so stressed out during that time period.
Oh, you have some levity in your book also. You talk about a ticket that you received, but in the meantime, you were juggling going to the hospital and you had to go, but you were, very, calm about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just have to. And, I mean, speaking of not being calm, I remember when Jason decided he wanted to drive. And so I always said, Dad gets to be your driver's trainer. So I remember his grandpa agreed to pay for private lessons, and the first day the instructor took him right up on the freeway, and it terrified him, so he didn't even go back till he was 20.
Oh, no.
All he had to do was, take the driving test, and then he's been a great help shuttling the younger siblings to karate, play practice acting, and whatever they're in.
Teddy, this may not be necessarily connected with the topic of the book, but what is the O Queer chapter? Is that how you pronounce it? O Queer?
Oh, it's Ochre.
Ochre. The Ochre chapter.
Mountains.
Oquirrh. Just so people understand why I thought it was O Queer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what is that?
Ochre Mountains. The Ochre Mountains.
Oh, that's mountains.
There's a mountain range, And so we flew up over the Ochre Mountain range when we flew down to California. The sun was just going down. It was beautiful, like a lake of gold.
But what is the Ochre chapter of the League of Utah Writers? What is that?
Oh, I used to be the president of the Ochre chapter. I'm a writer, so I've written for over 20 years.
Oh, okay. I see.
I have a poetry blog that you can look up. Most of my stuff is just at TediWixom.com that we just made a website so people can go there. But I've never had a regular job because it's been really hard to do that. So I love to write, and often I will have something to do. Like one time I was like a pizza delivery man, for 18 months.
Pizza delivery man. You change your sex just to deliver pizza? Wow.
But I have to tell you, it's been a lot of fun. I've been doing dinner parties, not parties, but dinners at night that are gourmet dinners. It just gives me something to do. One year, actually, Jason was really sick and nearly passed away when he was 18. And so I was so stressed out, I even became an ice cream truck man.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
What?
Delivering ice cream.
So Jason has had a tough life, huh? And he wants to be an actor, or he is an actor?
He's been an actor for about 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So he's the thing in the closet on Lake Erie. He's got scary looks. He's got great looks. I think the funnest one he was ever in was Chick Magnets with an S.
Oh, there you go.
It's never come out on DVD, which I'd love to see it come out.
Chick Magnets with an S?
Yes,
Yeah.
Chick Magnets.
So I really wanted
Plural.
to make a book about a little snake that reminded me of Jason. So we came up with Danny is Different. It's a little snake born odd. And Jason's unique character and being himself is what has blessed our lives.
He wrote a book when he was little, too. Cock-a-doodle-doo, I love you.
Yes, he did. He came home one day saying, "Cock-a-doodle-doo, I love you." And he said that for about 6 weeks. I was ready to smack him upside the head. So I said, "Honey, we need to sit down and write a book." So we did.
Oh,
author,
okay.
age 6, and he would go out and, "Here, will you buy my book?"
Oh,
of course,
wow.
I'd buy it when he was little.
Oh, that's great. I just love the love in your voice.
Mm-hmm.
Robin and I have an adult friend. He's 52, 54, something
54.
like that. And he has Down syndrome. And recently there was a guy in the news. I can't remember who it was. It was one of those famous atheist guys.
Mm-hmm.
And he said anybody who knows in advance that they're going to have a child with Down syndrome should abort the child.
Mm-hmm.
And I made a video of Doug saying, I told Doug Doug the story, and Doug is our friend's name. I said, what do you think of that? He said, I think that guy's nuts or something like that.
Yeah.
Which was wonderful, But the same thing, it sounds like they were telling you should abort all the boys that you might be carrying, and
Right.
good for you. You decided not to. I mean, but this is a living example of why you shouldn't.
Right. Well, we depended on prayers and our neighbors, our community, everyone to help us because it was a stressful thing. And we've had other, incidents that have happened in the neighborhood where we try to be a community and help each other. And like I said, prayers and just remembering that life is a celebration. You have to seize the day, and there's miracles that happen all around you if you'll just open your eyes.
Yeah.
And prayers are so important because it's so much easier to go the other route and to blame God.
Exactly.
But instead you embrace this, and in doing so you've given hope to a lot of other families.
Exactly, because if I can go through all this deep duty that I went through, I'm pretty sure anybody else can go through whatever they're going through.
All right.
That was the purpose of the book.
All morning long, the phones to have listeners call in has not been working, but I think it is working right now. Dan Morton's been working on it all morning. So if you're listening and you would like a copy of Whisper of Springtime, I have one copy to give away that was sent to us. So you can call and ask for it right now. 622-9622 is the number. The rest of us have to go buy it, and this is where I get to ask you how we do that. Teddy, do you have a website?
I have a new website, just TediWixom.com. It's TEDIWIXOM as in Mary.com. But you can always just go to Amazon as well.
Okay, excellent. Let me give this one away. The phones are working, Robin. Look at that.
Yay!
Isn't that wonderful? Good morning.
I love that.
You've got the book.
Hi, this is Linda.
Linda, you've got the book. It'll be waiting for you.
Thank you so much. I love her stories.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for calling.
Thanks.
And by the way, now that the phones are working, if anybody wants to claim the other books we gave away this morning as well, you can call in for them. Just give me about 5 minutes so we can finish speaking to Teddy. Well, I love the fact that your story is so optimistic, and I mean we all survive because of each other. I think you've demonstrated that with you as a family. You've demonstrated it with you as a community. I mean, even as us as a country. The communication between each other, you wouldn't have known about that available heart had it not been for the ability to communicate.
Yes.
Exactly.
In Yorba Linda. I have a cousin in Yorba Linda, by the way. Mm-hmm. Somewhere over there. Mm-hmm.
And what this also does is that, like you said, this really helped the siblings develop the camaraderie and their individual personalities, because everybody needs attention in their own way, and you recognize that fact early on. So you did give everyone their undivided attention, and you are very instrumental in helping them grow up to help them decide what careers it is that they love to go into.
Exactly.
So I introduced you by mentioning a personal story about my nephew's little boy who's in intensive care. So they're spending a lot of time in the hospital. And my notes say here that you have advice for somebody with long hospital times. What is the advice?
Well, first of all, you have to do something for yourself because you feel like you're in a morgue just watching over the dead people. Mm-hmm. So you just have to get out, and as a couple, we need to do something together occasionally because life is a celebration, and it's not always dull and glum. There's always that silver lining. And remember, if it wasn't for the cherry pit in the cherry, that we would never have a cherry because the pit is in the middle. And a lot of times people just concentrate on the pit that's nothing there, but it's actually the seed that grows the beautiful fruit that we can devour.
Wow, that's a pretty good philosophy, yeah. Absolutely. Well, Teddy, thank you so much for being on the air with us. I guess I don't need to tell you to stay warm. How did Utah get spared? I don't understand that. I thought you were right in the heart of everything.
Yeah.
Well, we've had some hot weather. We've had up at the 60s in January. This is really weird. When you guys get a really bad one back east in New York and stuff, we get a mild winter here. So, but we have actually snow in the mountains, so my daughter went snowboarding on Monday.
Oh, really?
Wonderful.
Really?
Yeah.
So is Jason? No, Jason is your second oldest.
No, Jason is number 5. He's right in the middle.
Oh, fifth. Okay, all right.
So we had one son that died. We had a daughter first, and then a son that died, and then we had 6 boys in a row, then 2 girls at the end. So Jason is number 5. He's right in the middle.
And is there any fear of him getting what he got at the age of 18 again?
Oh, well, his heart just stopped. He actually died. So we want to actually write that story, but it's been really traumatic to talk about it. So he told me he's not even going to help me with that one.
Oh, there you go.
Did he have any of those like near-death experiences? Did he have anything?
Yeah, he did. And the thing is, he said, I can't tell you about it. It's like, what?
So you don't know about it? You mean he saw God and he won't tell you about it?
Well, I don't know what happened. His grandfather had died that year. That's like in January.
Really?
And so Jason had this episode in like August, September. It was just after his birthday. So what happened is he said, Grandpa's here. And I says, Grandpa's dead. So then I worried that, he was there to pick him up. So he didn't tell me till a year later. Is the reason Grandpa was there is to tell him it was not his time to go.
Oh.
Wow. Wow.
So that was pretty powerful.
What a way to end this interview.
We believe in angels and miracles.
Me too.
Yes.
Teddy,
for having me.
Teddy Wixom, what a wonderful guest you've been. Thank you. Good luck with the book. Come back anytime. The book, again, is called A Whisper of Springtime. Thank you, Teddy.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, we'll be right back.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. The man who shot American sniper Chris Kyle and his friend Chad Littlefield going away for life, found guilty of capital murder.
Jury came back after less than 2.5 hours with their decision. Taya Kyle was not in the courtroom, and Eddie Ray Routh showed no visible emotion as he learned his fate. The jury of 10 women and 2 men didn't buy the defense's claim that Routh was insane when he opened fire at a nearby gun range in 2013.
Fox Radio's Jeff Manasso in Stephenville, Texas. The defense appealing the verdict. There are proposals, but no agreement to break the impasse over a bill that would block the president's executive actions on immigration and affect funding for Homeland Security. The director of DHS warning that the American people should be concerned.
Homeland Security of this nation could shut down Friday at midnight.
That's when the money runs out. Fox News. We report, you decide.
There is something about the road that beckons, that invites us to pack up the family and leave the world behind. And there is something about an industry-leading unlimited mileage warranty on a certified pre-owned Mercedes-Benz that gives us the freedom to do exactly that. You take to the highway, rack up the miles for up to 3 years, and drive with the assurance that your Mercedes-Benz is covered. You have the security of being in a car that has been certified to Mercedes-Benz standards, while you enjoy a carefree ownership experience for miles and miles. But while the mileage is unlimited, your time to take advantage of our certified pre-owned sales event is not. Now through March 2nd, you can also receive complimentary prepaid maintenance and your first 2 months payments on us on select models, plus 3 months of Sirius XM satellite radio.